Hello, and welcome to Inside the Video Store. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. My name is Dave Wain. This is one of the last remaining movie rental stores in the UK, one of two, and certainly the one with the largest rentable archive of films, which is really, really exciting. What do we do here? We rent movies, we rent films. That's what it's all about. The price has stayed the same for 30 years. £2.50 for a film, or £3 for £5 for a week. That's the deal, but it's flexible. There's no fixed rental period. So if you rent it today, you're not necessarily going to be, in too much trouble if it's back a day or two late. There's certainly no late fees. There's no membership either. It's a nice, relaxing environment for people who genuinely love films to just meet up and watch some great films that simply aren't available elsewhere. And if they are available, you're paying a premium. You're paying for a subscription service, and then you're paying money on top, which is just outrageous, quite frankly. It's been a good week, he says, every single week that this show is on the air. But it's been brilliant. It's a fantastic Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Tremendously busy week. Lots of new and exciting people who seem absolutely awesome. If you have come here for the first time and you're watching the show for the first time as a result of that, then welcome and thank you for patronizing one of the last movie rental stores in the UK. It's great. As you can see, lots of new people means I've had to print another batch of rental sleeves. Like I've said to you, I've said this several times, but just to go over it again, I originally printed my first batch, and you get three options, I think. You can print 100, you can print 250, or you can print 500. And I thought, I'm going to print 250 because that's the safe option. But then, like 500, even though it was double the quantity, it was a nominal price increase on 250. So I thought, well, at least then I never have to think about it again for the rest of my life. So I printed 500. And I thought, well, they will last forever, and I'll be pulping some the day I close because, they will never be used. Lo and behold, we're sending out 500 films a week. So that's pretty crazy. So I've had to print another 500 sleeves just to sort of cope with demand, really, which is really exciting. It's great. I went through my lates as well, my lates, my naughty people lates, my death stare lates, and there's not that many, to be honest. So people are being very, very considerate. I thought with the increase in trade, will people start to be a little bit more inconsistent with returning their geez, cold in here. Inconsistent with returning their films, but no, they're not, to be honest. That they're in the main. There may be one or two people, Danny Walker, but in the main, that's true. Danny, he's one example. For God's sake, one example. You may have seen the story I posted on Instagram this week. He wins the competition. He wins the competition to get free movies for the entire year, free rentals. I don't know if you know, but we celebrated the 30th anniversary of Snips Movies last summer. A competition to win free movies for a year. Danny won the competition. Great, brilliant, enjoy your movies. And all of a sudden, he's become the worst customer, the customer from hell. And he works in retail as well. He knows about customers from hell. But yeah, he rented City on Fire, and poor Jake was desperate to watch City on Fire. Danny rented City on Fire, but not only did he not return it in due course, he left the country. He left the country to go on holiday, and City on Fire is literally sitting in his living room on his coffee table. Yeah. Oh dear, Danny. But Danny has since threatened to now mainly patronize my competitor in Bristol. So, hey, That's life. Some you win, some you lose. I'm sure it's something in there. But yeah, so thank you for many people doing such great stuff and returning their films on time, which is really important. Because it's not about money. It's never about money. It's always about making films available for other people. Here, we always have to be considerate of our fellow people. We're all equal. We're all at the same level. We all have the same rights, and you know, we should all have access to the same number of films. Nobody should hog a specific film for any length of time. It's really important. But like I say, the vast majority of people are being absolutely wonderful. And even if they're 8, 9, 10 days, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. So yeah, that's it. All good news. All good news. I will start slicing and dicing those. That's the frustrating thing about these, though. Great, Vistaprint, bit of a corporate company, but hey, they're good. Printed them, but unfortunately, a DVD sleeve, which is what these slide into, a DVD case, is slightly smaller than an A4 piece of paper. So whenever I get a batch of sleeves, I literally have to cut down all 4 sides of each individual sleeve. So it's a bit of a laborious process to enable it to fit a DVD case. But hey, there are worse things to have to do. But still, it's just great to have those in. So what do we got today? Yeah, not a vast amount of new releases. It is the first week of the month, remember, so notoriously quiet. There are 2 films that haven't yet come in. One of which is Dogma. I don't know why. I think it's in stock at several places, but the supplier I ordered from seems to be having issues sourcing it, so that's annoying. Kevin Smith's Dogma, of course, making its Blu-ray and 4K debut this week. So that will be a little bit delayed. Also, Arrow Video's release of the Sana collection, which looks like a really cool double bill of J-horror. I was hoping that would I ordered it from HMV, and they had it in stock when I ordered it, and hey, not shipped, which is a bit annoying. I hate it when it happens, because ultimately, if it's not in stock, and they show it's not in stock, I don't order it. But if it's in stock, and they show it's in stock, I order it, and oh, sorry, we've, having issues with that. Anyway, let's crack on. Oh yeah, we got a nice batch of what's on loan, and also we have a guide to the new anime section. What's in the box this week? There's only about 2 titles, so it's a guide to the new anime section, which launched this past week, and the response has been sensational. So many films are out. I don't know how many. We'll go through it in a bit. I'll flip the camera around to make it more easier for you to have a look. And yeah, just been absolutely sensational. I watched one of them myself. We did our final commentary for now, which is just glorious to have time and not have any pressure. We did our final commentary, and I finished the commentary. It's one of those. Oh, jeez. It was one of those. It seemed like a simple thing. It was an Albert Pune film, 77 minutes long. When you think 77 minutes, piece of cake. So we're chatting along, and then all of a sudden, 20 minutes into it, I hear the words of doom. Matty Budrewicz. No. Stop this. No, we're going to do it again. This is absolute shit. He is the arbiter of good taste, to be honest. And if there's anyone that knows if something is doo-doo, then it is him. So we have to scrap it, start again. And then every time we restarted the film, it kept on doing the spinning wheel of death after about 30 seconds. And we were just losing the plot. Like, why is it like... Anyway, we got it going in the end. And we finished about 11 p.m. And I thought, I'll take something home to watch because I'm free. I can watch whenever I want tonight. It was Sunday night. And I thought, I'm going to watch an anime. And the one that I was really looking forward to watching was Blue Giant. Because I thought, I don't know much about anime, but this is anime and jazz. It's made for me. But I thought, it's 2 hours. By the time I get home and all that gets sorted, I'm not gonna be able to stay up and watch this. But I did, because it just captivated me. It had me sobbing like a baby. Such a phenomenal film, and it really has given me the bug to watch more anime. I mean, if they can be that good, holy cow. I mean, I'm going to have a whale of a time. So we'll go through the anime a little bit later, but for now, we will look at the new releases that came in, which won't take very long at all. Okay, here we are. Like I said to you, I think last week, I'm getting fewer and fewer contemporary releases. Because there's still some B movies coming out, but they're not renting. They're not renting at all. Before, I used to get the B movies in just to have them in, but at the moment, you tend to think to yourself, well, what's the point? Because you've got to justify things. I would rather not get a B movie or two B movies, say no to them and get one Criterion instead. So this week, that's what I've done. So I think there's 4 B movies, some shark thing, some grizzly bear thing, and I thought, no, they're going to sit there and gather dust. So in its place, I bought 2 Criterions that I haven't had in the past. So I thought, yeah, let's do that instead. So what we do have is the big title of the week, which is the Bruce Springsteen bio based around the Nebraska era. It's called Springsteen. Deliver Me From Nowhere. Sounds great to me. It's directed by Scott Cooper. Jeremy Allen White stars as the boss. And yeah, it sounds absolutely fantastic. Stephen Graham is in it as well, Liverpool's own. So yeah, I'll be watching this. I'll be taking a look at this and looking forward to it. I did see last week's big film, which was One Battle After Another, and I thought, wow, that was a film. Again, it was one of those films that I started late, and I thought, this film's 2.5 hours. But, it just holds you, doesn't it? It just holds you. Just brilliant performances. The young girl in it was absolutely sensational. If you haven't seen the TV show she's in with Jake Gyllenhaal, I recommend that. It was an 8-parter. Forget the name of it, but it was fantastic. Bill Camp was in that as well, and he's a phenomenal actor. One of the great underrated. Bill Camp is one of the great underrated actors of modern times. DiCaprio was fantastic. And I thought Sean Penn was excellent. I'm not a fan of Sean Penn for many reasons, outside of the business. But I thought his performance was just sensational, absolutely sensational. And so it's one of those films that first half hour I thought, yeah, okay, I can get into this. But then it just hooks you. And that last 20 minutes was just absolutely unreal. So yeah, really thrilled with that, and hopefully most of my customers will enjoy it. It's rented like hell over the last 7 days. Most people have been. This highlights how amazing my customers are. Most people who have rented that film in the past 10 days have returned it almost overnight. They've really made it a priority. And I've said to them, look, you don't have to. However, if you can make this a priority, that would be great. But if you want to take it for a week, take it for a week. And to be honest, I think every single customer that rented it has returned it in record time, which is so generous. And it really does show the consideration that they give to their fellow renters, which is mega. But yeah, this is the big film this week. Springsteen, Deliver Us From Nowhere. Deliver Me From Nowhere. Yeah, this looks great. Next up, DVD only, which is a real rarity, but it's a Valentine's Day cash-in, really, isn't it? It's called Regretting You. It stars Alison Williams and Dave Franco, based on the best-selling book by Colleen Hoover. A devastating accident, family torn apart, yada, yada, yada. There we go. Yeah, that is Regretting You. Story of my life. And finally, with the boutiques, we just have 2 boutiques. As I say, the other 2 boutiques didn't arrive. They're pending. But the 2 boutiques that did arrive highlight the sheer diversity of the Criterion collection. You know, if you would have thought that House Party would ever be a part of the Criterion collection, I think you would have been considered loopy. But here we are. This is House Party, Reginald Hudlin's film with Kid and Play, is in store on both 4K UHD and on Blu-ray. Wow. I've never seen this. I've got the House Party trilogy up there on DVD, and it's been a perennial rental for 20 years. But I'm looking forward to watching this. Yeah, I think it will be great. House party in 4K. What a time to be alive, as the cliche goes. So yeah, that's the first Criterion having a good 3 weeks. I had 2 in last week, The Dead and the other one. And this week, House Party, and Birth, Jonathan Glazer's film. I mentioned this was coming in last week. Next week, I think they got Kiss of the Spider-Woman out. So it's a hell of a few weeks for Criterion in the UK. But yeah, Jonathan Glazer's film, I must admit, the DVD has not been a strong renter over the last 20 years. Not at all. When it first came out, it didn't rent. Over the last 20 years, no one has really gone to revisit it, aside from the last few weeks. Even when Under the Skin came out, no one really made a beeline for it. So I'm hoping that this film gets a second wind with this Criterion edition, and it is, of course, both on Blu-ray and 4K UHD. Very exciting. That is Birth. Cool. So yeah, that gives me a very easy job tomorrow when I'm putting the new releases out. So that will take about 5 minutes. Glorious. What's on loan? What is on loan? Well, to be honest, there's such an amazing mix of films going out on loan lately. I really can't believe it. Every day is just people bringing up films. But that's the beauty of being here. It's the beauty of having a library that is here for perpetuity. You know, nothing is under pressure. Nothing will ever be sold. Everything that's here, if you come in and you see, Johnny Toe's Election, I didn't mispronounce that, Johnny Toe's Election, and you think, oh, I'd love to see Johnny Toe's Election. But I haven't got time this week. Whenever you come in, be it next week, next month, next year, this film will still be here, and it will still have Election Volume 2 in the same case. So I think that's one of the things that people like, and people have become so frustrated with on streaming services, the way that things disappear. And I think that's highlighted by this pile of on loans. I mean, take the top one, Woody Allen's Celebrity. This film has not rented out in 15 years. It's been up there in the Woody Allen section, dormant, gathering a little bit of dust. But hey, went out last night, which is great. It just goes to show you that, it's the old thing we used to track when we had a manageable library. We used to have a spreadsheet. We used to track rentals and how profitable a film was, especially with the new releases, because you like to know. It's all measured in turns. Turns was the buzzword. How many turns? So you would pay, I don't know, say 35 quid for the rental, and you would want 3 turns. So by 3 turns, you would want £100 back. So you'd get your money back, your 35 quid, and you'd make a good bit of profit as well. So 3 turns, 100 quid, £2.50. You would want 40 rentals from it. And that was the goal. And that's what we used to do. And it was quite exciting, I suppose, but it was a bit of a capitalist, anti-art, anti-film way of doing things. Films would feel like they were under pressure because they'd had, less single-digit rentals. And, I'm so glad I abandoned that system over a decade ago, or more, 15 years ago. When the library became that big, it was tricky to do such a thing. But I like the way now that films just exist. They just exist. They just exist on the shelf. They're just happy. They're happy. If someone picks them up now, in 5 years' time, it's good. It's all good. And Celebrity is one of those films. It's a real odd film from Woody Allen. Obviously, DiCaprio, Kenneth Branagh, Melanie Griffith, Joe Mantegna, Charlize Theron. Great cast. It's an interesting piece of work. Yeah. But glad to see it going out as Celebrity. Also on loan this week, I think Dave took this Danny Kaye box set. He wasn't sure which one to pick from the box set. So I said, well, just take all 4 So at least if you put one on and it's not your cup of tea, then you can switch it and stick another one on. I've only seen one film out of this box set, and it was The Kid from Brooklyn, which I really did like, to be honest, because there's something genuinely childlike about Danny Kaye that you can just lose yourself in. Just that naive innocence that's, it's lost in this cold, cynical, harsh world. Next up, James was in yesterday, which was really cool. He was telling me about he's just done a presentation, a video essay for his course. He's a student at JMU, and he got 82%, which is just amazing. He's a massive renter, 6 movies a week, and he likes cult movies. I mean, real cult movies, not your Wes Craven, not your John Carpenter type of cult movies. Your Nick Zed kind of cult movies, your John Hayes kind of cult movies. And yeah, he said he got 82% on his video essay, and it even included a quote from Fred Olen Ray. Oh, a quote from Fred Olen Ray at John Moores University in Liverpool. Brilliant. And of course, he's made good use of my Fred Olen Ray section up there. I think he rented Evil Tunes and a number of things, I think. So that's so cool. So pleased. So he's on a John Hayes kick at the moment. 2 people, Roxy and Paddy, on a John Hayes kick at the moment. John Hayes, one of my favorite filmmakers. I've been noodling with an essay of his about his whole career for quite some time. Interesting career, started in the 60s. Went into exploitation at the end of the decade, went into pornography, died. There we go. The life of John Hayes. But there was something specifically interesting about his films. And I think in these last few years, he's slowly begun to be appreciated as being quite an interesting auteur. So James is going through a few of his films. The latest one I've given him is Garden of the Dead, which is on a double bill here with Shriek of the Mutilated. Garden of the Dead is it's an acquired taste, but I kind of like it. I like it even more because this has an audio commentary with Fred Olen Ray and my boy David Okoto. So yeah, that's extra reason to listen to it. David Okoto, of course, knew John Hayes quite well, or John Patrick Hayes, as he likes to call him. So yeah, really cool about that. Really cool. I did laugh, actually. I laughed. I think Paul was in at the weekend. My last customer on a very frantic Sunday. And he was chatting to another customer who was in picking 9 rentals. And they were talking briefly about David Okoto, because they said, if it wasn't for Inside the Video Store, 500 fewer people would know who David Okoto was, and that just makes me very happy. Everyone should know who David Okoto is. For an Affair was Mark's choice as part of his threesome. I think it was his wife's choice, but it's a great film. Billy Wilder, can't beat Billy Wilder. Fantastic. Not one of Billy Wilder's most popular films that rents out here. Obviously, that's Some Like It Hot, but still great to see it renting out, with the usual sharp dialogue from his usual screenwriter. Is it? No, it's not his usual screenwriter. Interesting. No, Kieran was in on Monday. And of course, David Gordon Green is renowned for... Did he do Road Trip, did he? I think so. And obviously he did the latter day Halloween sequels. And yeah, he threw a good career down the Swanee, because he started out life making amazing films like George Washington, which needs a Blu-ray over here. It's released originally by BFI, so I don't know if they still have any access to the rights. But I hope they do put this out on Blu-ray at some point. It's a 25-year-old film now, but George Washington is a great piece of filmmaking, and really did highlight what a great... Well, he was 25 at the time when he directed this, David Gordon Green, and this kind of highlighted the potential that he had, and then he just went on to do some shitty Halloween films. It's a week of kink. It's not even Valentine's Day, and already my customers are beginning to get kinky, which is fine with me. Nick Broomfield's Fetishes is out on loan, which is really cool to see. A big fan of Nick Broomfield. Brilliant director. You will have seen some of his documentaries, probably Kurt and Courtney or Biggie and Tupac. But yeah, one of the best documentary makers that we've ever had in this country. And Fetishes is just remarkable. It is remarkable. It's a glimpse into a world that I don't know at all. Into a world that is very, very interesting. And yeah, it's great. So not only do Fetishes go out, but Tickled went out as well. So Fetishes and Tickled. Take your pick. But it's great. This is another. They'd make a great double bill because they're interconnected, obviously, in a world of unique people, but happy people. People making themselves happy. That's what we want. Speaking of documentaries, I've left it at home, so I haven't got it here to show you. But I managed, thankfully, it's out of print and it's really hard to get hold of now. But I managed to plug a gap in the second run collection with the release of a compendium of Mark Isaacs films. Mark Isaacs is just a stunning British filmmaker on the level of Nick Broomfield, one of the best. He started off in the early noughties making films like, his first film was Lift. 24 minutes. It's literally him stood on a lift with his camera. Purely observational. There is a bit of dialogue here and there. And it's just going up and down in a high rise. And he's just observing the people that come in at snapshots of lives of different days, different months. And it's wonderful just to see such raw documentary filmmaking. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I've seen it before on the original DVD release, but it's great to catch up with them. Loved it. Another one on that box set is a film called a film about Calais, which typically is the most depressing film you could ever want to see. As we watch poor people trying to get over to England, and this is nearly 25 years ago. Obviously, it wasn't creating the kind of stink that it does today, but it's it's not. Yeah, it's a distressing documentary at times, but also it shows the flip side. It shows expats coming to Calais to try and make a living, which is really interesting. You've got a bar owner, you've got an old elderly couple that try and do little deals here and there. So it's showing both sides of the coin. But fascinating piece of work. And I've just started watching a documentary on that set called All White Embarking, which goes back to 2003, I think, when the BNP were the second largest council party in the borough of Barking and Dagenham. Again, ugly documentary with ugly people, ugly, illiterate, moronic racists, because it is just showing the difficulty in becoming a multicultural society in some parts of the country, owing to groups of white people who don't like brown people. And it's a grim watch, but Mark Isaacs films it with such honesty. And I can't believe some of these people are being so honest. But this was, as I say, nearly quarter of a century ago. And here, of course, that is front and center of our daily lives, the politics of hate. Grim, but essential, because it shows that even then the seeds were being sown for people like this toad-faced idiot in the UK to thrive. Crazy. Right, let's stop the political thing before I start getting complaints. Very Bad Things, indeed, is an early film from Peter Berg, which doesn't run out that much, but it's a great film. I saw this at the cinema, believe it or not. Yes, I am that old. In 1998. It was great fun. I did enjoy it. With a great cast, Christian Slater, Daniel Stern, Cameron Diaz, Jean Favreau. I always pronounce John Favreau's name like he's French, Jean Favreau, but he's not. Jeremy Piven. Yeah, great stuff. So it's Very Bad Things. Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I'm going to have to get the Blu-ray of this. I had a customer rent it on Sunday. Awesome. A customer came in to try and rent it on Monday. Out on loan. Another customer came in to try and rent it on Tuesday. Out on loan. So this is currently having a huge resurgence despite the fact it's now 6 years old. So I'm going to get another copy of that because it is one of my top renting titles, which is great. And yeah, I think a Blu-ray would be very well called for. Finally, with the films on loan this week, number 10, we have Shooters. This was mentioned at great length in one of my 5 films episodes with Dylan Cubbin and Dan Draper. Of course, it was a film that they both love extremely well. So if you want to learn more about the film, I do urge you to go and watch the 5 films episode with Dylan and Dan, who talk about it for 2 or 3 minutes. But it's a great Liverpool-based gangster film that is rough and ready. All non-actors, almost like a documentary-esque, to be honest, but it's great fun. So there's Shooters. Cool, that's film on loan. Oh yeah, so let's quickly go through these 2, and then we'll have a look at the anime. Yeah, like I said to you, I've got about 50 Criterion discs that I'm missing on a wish list, but many of those are drifting out of print. The Wes Anderson films are becoming really, really hard to get hold of. So yeah, I'll see what I can do this year, but hopefully I'm going to try and pick up the ones that I'm missing to make that a complete UK Criterion collection. Won't be easy, but I picked up 2 anyway this week, and there'll be another 2 next week. This week we have Kagemusha on Criterion Blu-ray. I've got it here, but only on DVD. I think Paul is going through the Kurosawas, and I don't think he's been onto Kagemusha yet. He's just at the moment gone through the early Kurosawa. That's what he's on at the moment, which is really cool. So I don't think he's on Kagemusha. So yeah, there you go, Paul. If you're looking for Kagemusha, don't rent the DVD. The Blu-ray will be in Criterion. Also, we have on Criterion Bringing Up Baby, Howard Hawks' film from 1938 with the delectable Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful stuff. I'm going to do anime at the end. Many of you will see me doing anime for 15 minutes and think, oh my God, this is incredibly boring. I'm going to switch off. So what I'll do, I'll allow you to switch off. But first I'm going to do comments, and then we'll leave the anime for the very, 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 very end. So those of you who it doesn't quite float your boat don't have to sit there bored waiting for the comments. Okie dokie. Let's just check the time and check we're recording, because we don't want to have to do this again. 33 minutes, good Lord. I do torture you. I do torture you. Righty-ho. So yeah, good batch of comments this week. Freddie is a big fan of One Battle After Another. Who isn't? Who isn't? You know, that's the beauty of film, as I always say. Different opinions, all welcome. Who doesn't? Who did I not gel for? Let me know, because I had an interesting comment on my Letterboxd account from a friend on Letterboxd who said that they didn't like it first time around, but they persevered and they watched it again, and they loved it. And then they watched it again, and they loved it even more, which goes to show you the importance about, revisiting stuff. Sometimes our first opinion can be a bit shaky. But Freddie loved it. And tonight he's watching Way of the Gun. I haven't seen that for a while. Wasn't that one of Chris McQuarrie's early movies? And he's watching To Live and Die in LA, William Friedkin's fantastic film. Big Al says the store is looking better than ever. Thank you, Big Al. I'm really happy with it. I'm really, really happy with it. Del Bongo says, wow, exclamation mark. Revenge of Billy the Kid. I don't know what to say. Apparently, Del Bongo watched this many, many years ago with his friends, and they still talk about it today. That's the kind of impact that film had. As you know, it came in last week on DVD. Zephyr says, Il Gran Silencio, out on Blu-ray. Excellent. Somebody has got good taste. Alas, Neil rented it and didn't like it. But yeah, we'll go into that. Sorry, Neil. Goat Jazz. Goat Jazz says, definitely have an Odyssey section in the store. I mentioned it last week that I used to love as a kid the Odyssey video label on VHS. It was the iconic thing was when you put the VHS in and it came up to the film, you would have the most chintzy, cheesy logo you could ever imagine. It was like a spinning wheel, like a spinning blue wheel with elevator music. It was just awful, and it said Odyssey Video, and it was all the true stories that's shown on the US TV networks like CBS, NBC, etc., etc. But many of those films are now on DVD, courtesy of a label called Infinity, and no one in their right mind would rent them, aside from Paddy and Roxy and me. But I just kind of have a kink for Odyssey true stories. Just the overall, just the nature of them. I will seriously consider that, Goat Jazz. Maureen says, you already have a copy of Morgiana, as it's in the House of Psychotic Women, Volume 2. That is very true. Alas, they have different extras, and I am a sucker for a spine number, so it's nice to have all those second run films all in spine number order and all complete. And it gives people two bites of the cherry. Morgiana is such a great film. It means they can discover it in the second run section, or they might discover it in the House of Psychotic Women box set, Volume 2. Harry hated the first 20 minutes of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Hated it. However, persevered. Had a great time. That's what we like to hear. John says that The Lifeguard really was a special film for him and his wife Elizabeth this week. They loved it. It's a Sam Elliott film that they rented, and they absolutely thought it was spectacular. He's also really happy about the documentary section expanding. He loves a good documentary. He is ecstatic that the bridge is front-faced. The bridge is one of the best documentaries you'll ever see. It's about jumpers over the side of the Golden Gate Bridge. Very affecting, very affecting. And he says he agrees about West of Memphis being second choice to Joe Berlinger's Paradise Lost trilogy. I forgot it was a trilogy. I only have the first two. I have bookmarked Paradise Lost 3. However, does anyone know? It doesn't say whether it's region coded on the back of the DVD. Does anyone know if it is? Does anyone have Paradise Lost Volume 3? I'd like to know, kind of, if it is region coded. If it's not, it will be here ASAP. James. Oh, this is a great story. This is a great story. James comes in every week. Other James. He was leaving the store when he got his last batch of rentals, and he had a guy. There was a guy looking in, looking in through the window, a nose pressed up against the glass, and just as he came out the door, he heard this fella turn to his mate, and he said to his mate, "Just seems so pointless." I love that. I love that. I love people who don't get it, because to be honest, if I got this stool and I sat at that window all day drinking coffee, I think I would get a dozen people walking past and making comments saying, "Just don't get it. Just don't get it. I just don't get it." Because the amount of people that literally walk past, shake their heads, and just, what is going on? But it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I love hearing things like that because I like hearing people. I love to confound people. It makes me happy. And funny enough, after I read that quote, the following day, which I think was Saturday, I was doing something at the front of the store, and literally there was a van load of builders that got out of their van. There's 5 of them, all in the work gear, and they were going. Obviously, we have a bakery on the corner, sausage rolls and all that kind of thing. So we get a lot of workies at lunchtime and in the morning, stopping off for sausage roll, bacon batch, coffee, etc., etc. And it's always the workies. It is always the workies. And they stopped, and the 5 of them, they just couldn't understand. And I could hear them talking to themselves, and they were like, "No, no, no, no! You see those red tags? That means the film's been taken out. So people must be taking films out. Why are they taking films out? Why are they doing that?" And I just couldn't understand it. And I love that. I love that. That, it hasn't been that long since video stores disappeared. But I just find it fascinating that people, it's so alien to people, and they just can't comprehend why you would want to come in here and rent movies. That's brilliant. I love that. And finally, our brick builds. Friday evening, cup of tea inside the video store. Sounds great, brick builds. Sounds like a plan. Or something stronger, perhaps. Right, that is all the new bits. So I'm going to talk about anime now. I'm going to switch the camera around and show you what's in the anime section. So if you're not into anime, don't worry. I'll see you next week. But if you are, keep watching, and I'll go through what's in store. Okay, welcome to anime. Welcome to anime. To give you a bit of history on it, which we've gone over in the past, many people have said over the years, "Dave, where's your anime section?" And I was kind of shrugged and said, "Well, Crunchyroll, they do a good job." And to me, that's a bit defeatist. It is a bit defeatist. But to be honest, I thought, how can I compete with Crunchyroll? Such is the breadth of their library. Not like Netflix. I don't shrug and say, Netflix, because this is far superior to Netflix. But Crunchyroll, the breadth of anime they have, they have got a good range. But it's still a subscription service, isn't it? It's still something you've got to subscribe to. And I thought, yeah, there's too many people asking about it for me not to do it. So I thought, well, yeah, let's give it a go. So over the past 12 months, I've kind of mentioned it a few times, and I've had a lot of people mention some recommendations. So I've written all those down, which is could have been 15 to 20 recommendations from people, which was great, really, really helpful. And I've also had about 20 donations of people who said, look, these are my animes. I'm not going to watch them. I'd like to donate them to you. One of which was Toby. Toby came in recently and donated a number, which was just unbelievably generous. So all in all, I think we're going to end up with between 80 and 90. I think there's 84 in stock at the moment. And looking at the forthcoming schedule for anime, they don't seem to put a vast amount of films out. So I think I'm quite safe to have that quantity. The only thing that's coming out in the future, I think, is Wolf Children Blu-ray. So that will upgrade my DVD. So let's go through it quickly. The way it's organized is obviously alltheanime.com is kind of the principal label in the UK. That's alltheanime.com. Principal label in the UK. I forget who they're owned by now. They got bought out in 2025 by someone. But they seem to release the vast majority. So we have alltheanime.com are on those top 6 shelves, all in alphabetical order. Then the bottom 2 shelves are just the generic releases that have come in from other labels, be it Studio Canal, Manga, and other people. One from Tartan, obviously. And then on the top shelf, which you just can't see, there's a little cantilever section for the Studio Ghibli. Now Studio Ghibli. That is one of the things I knew all about. I knew the Studio Ghibli line of 23 movies, is it? 24 with The Boy and the Heron. So everyone knows those films. So that's cool. So I thought, all right, let's pin those to the top. But let's, go through from B with the other releases. Like I say, many of these have been recommended, but some of these I've also done my own research on. Kind of pooled a dozen best of lists of people, websites, saying what they consider to be the best 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 animated features. I've tended to stick to features because I think that is more easily attainable. As soon as you start getting into series, one, it becomes more expensive, and two, space becomes an issue. I've done anime series in the past, maybe 15 years ago. It didn't work out too well. So we got Belle. We got Birthday Wonderland, which looks really cool. Blue Giant, as I said, that's the one I watched. Children of the Sea was a recommendation from CJ, which does look absolutely fantastic. The Colours Within, which is out on loan. One of my customers took that yesterday because they're a fan of the director. I think it's the same director as... Oh, testing my anime knowledge here. Same director as A Silent Voice, I think. Maybe wrong. Dear King, again, out on loan. You'll be surprised at how many of these are out on loan. First Slam Dunk, which kind of looks fun to me. We have Garden of Words. We have Goodbye Don Glees. These are so varied. There's such a... I always... Inuo, which is out on loan. I always presumed... A Letter to Momo as well. I always presumed that kind of anime would be almost like horror. Like similar kind of tropes done in a slightly different style. But it's not. It is completely different. There's so much diversity. This one just came in today, which is a Lonely Castle in the Mirror. Then we have Liz and the Bluebird. Next shelf down, we have Lupin the Third, which is a bigger picture. I know that that's a bigger concept, but I thought I'll get this standalone movie to be going on with. Lou Over the Wall is another one that's out on loan. My Miracle. We have Macria. Memories, which that's an old-timer as far as I'm aware. Millennium Actress, which I do believe is one of the greatest ever made. Mirai, which looks pretty cool. Miss Hokusai. And then finishing this shelf, we have Napping Princess. Great stuff. And many of them, surprising how many. I always thought of anime, when I was growing up, anime was kind of, hardcore stuff, very much violent orientated, very much sex orientated. But these are very, very family friendly, which perhaps has been my most sort of learning curve. Great titles. Night is Short. Walk On Girl, which looks really cool. Ongaku, Our Sound, which I'd like to quite see, to be honest. Because it's kind of the anime take on a slacker comedy, which looks pretty great. Patama Inverted, which I like because they have inverted the sleeve, which is really clever. Penguin Highway, which looks amazing. Perfect Blue, which is an old-timer. I'm aware of that. Perfect Blue. We have The Place Promised in Our Early Days. I mean, these titles don't roll off the tongue, but they all look really unique. Pumpo the Cinephile, which just came back yesterday. Pumpo the Cinephile sounds amazing. Yeah. A rollicking, exuberant ode to the power of the movies and the joys and heartbreak of the creative process. Superb. What do we got? Ride Your Wave, which is out on loan, and Silent Voice, which I mentioned before, which is out on loan as well. Okie dokie. Oh, struggling to reach. Dropping down the shelf again. Summer Ghost, which was a latecomer that only just came in on Monday. Oh yeah, Sword of the Stranger, another CJ recommendation, which was straight out of the gate. Sword of the Stranger. Tamako Love Story. We have Tekkon Concrete, Now managed to pronounce that correctly. Tokyo Marble Chocolate. Wonderful. We have Violet Evergarden, the movie. We have Weathering with You. And we have Your Name, which again, I consider to be one of the better ones of the whole shebang. Cool. So that's that. Make sure they're back in alpha order. Okay, we'll drop down. So there are all the anime.com releases. Then we have these last two shelves where we have the daddy, Akira. We have The Boy and the Beast. The Castle of Cagliostro. Now that is a Miyazaki film, but it's not Ghibli, is it? So I think I've done that right in separating the two. In this corner of the world, we have Cowboy Bebop, the movie, Earwig and the Witch, Ghost in the Shell, an old-timer, out on loan, and The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Then finally, on the bottom shelf, we have High School of the Dead. We have a Ninja Scroll. We have Paprika, out on loan. We have Redline, out on loan. Intrigued about this. I'm trying to find a Blu-ray. I can only find a German Blu-ray that might be UK compatible, but does anyone know if the German Blu-ray has got an English language track or an English subtitle track? If you do, let me know. Sky Blue, which again I'm led to believe is pretty dazzling. Suzume, we have Tokyo Godfathers, out on loan. Wicked City, Demon City double bill, and Wolf Children, which is out on loan and out on Blu-ray in a few weeks' time. I think it's out on the 16th. So there we go. That is your anime section at Snips. As I always say, if there's something there, or if there's something that isn't there that you think should be there, let me know. This is your store. This is something that you've created, not me. And if there's something that you think deserves a place in this section, please let me know. That would be fantastic. I know nothing about this stuff. I'm going to learn, but I do know very little indeed. And I appreciate the help that you've given me so far with this, because as you can see, it is already reaping the fruits of our labor. Good. So that's about it. Thank you very much for watching this week. Don't be a stranger in the comments. Let's have a chat. And yeah, see you next week. What do we got next week? I think it's going to be a quiet week next week. So yeah, if you want to see anything specific, let me know, because I don't think there's anything specific due in, aside from a handful of new releases. I don't think there's any What's in the Box due in. I think it's pretty quiet. So yeah, have a think. If there's anything you want to go over or see, or any part of the store you want to have a look at, then let me know. Aside from that, I will see you, Dusty, in 7 days' time.